Ha guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Warriors can solidify major lineup issue with blockbuster trade. The Golden State Warriors and coach Steve Kerr have been desperately searching for a starting shooting guard to place next to Stephen Curry after the unfortunate injury and departure of Anthony Melton. Their Warriors have tried a plethora of different lineups: Dennis Schroeder, Lindy Waters, Moses Moody, Gary Payton II, Brandon Podmski and most recently Buddy Hield have all shared the backcourt with Steph at some point this year. This revolving door of starters has caused major slow starts for the Warriors, especially on the offensive end, where they often dig themselves into a hole that can be too much to overcome. The trade deadline is looming and a recent familiar name has been in rumor surrounding the Warriors. For the right price it should be a no-brainer for Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the front office. Zack LaVine has been linked to several teams this season, as the Chicago Bulls have been stuck in limbo for the last few years, always hovering around the play-in tournament, tied up with big contracts from the likes of LaVine and Nikola Vucevic, has caused discussion on the urge to move on and rebuild. The 29-year-old 2X All-Star Zack LaVine is quietly having one of his best years as a pro. His prolific scoring has always been underrated, as can often be the case on a mediocre team. LaVine is averaging 24 points per game this year while shooting an absurd 44.6% from three-point range on 7.3 attempts per game. LaVine's efficiency is off the charts, and his athleticism and ability to create his own shot combined to create something Golden State could desperately need at the moment. LaVine is number one in the NBA in terms of points per possession on ISOs. The numbers regarding teammates' self-created shot-making are historically bad, alongside Steph, a whopping 1.2% compared to Kevin Durant's teammates, who are at 56.2%. LaVine has a hefty price tag and is making $43 million this year, while also being under contract until 2027. A backcourt of Curry and LaVine could be problematic defensively, but the ability to score and score in bunches will be a nightmare to guard, as the Warriors reportedly mull over whether to make a run at either LaVine or Jimmy Butler. It's the Bulls wing that would likely alleviate many of the team's concerns, and most notably finding an effective backcourt running mate for Curry. Warriors beat Thunder holding off Gilgeous-Alexander. The Golden State Warriors withstood Oklahoma City star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 52-point outburst to beat the Western Conference leading Thunder 116-109 on Wednesday. Andrew Wiggins scored 27 points and Warriors superstar Stephen Curry scored 17 of his 21 points in the second half, as Golden State erased a double-digit deficit and pulled away late for the victory. "We just stayed solid," said Curry, who entered the contest mid in shooting pomp and had just 4 points on one basket in the first half. Just all-around effort. The Thunder fueled by 31 first-half points from Gilgeous-Alexander led by as many as 14 in the first half and were up 58-48 at the break. The teams traded the lead 5 times in the opening minutes of the final frame, Kevin Looney putting Golden State ahead for good with a pair of free throws with 818 remaining. Curry's three-pointer put Golden State up 109-103 with 152 remaining. Wiggins added a three-pointer and Gary Payton II threw down a dunk as the Warriors pulled away. "We need every win possible," Curry said after the Warriors improved to 24-23, knocking on the door for a play-in tournament berth. "We haven't really developed anything consistent in terms of the win column, so this is a great test." The defeat dropped the Thunder to 37-9, a hair behind the Cleveland Cavaliers for best record in the league. The short-handed Cavs, fueled by 34 points from Donovan Mitchell, beat the Miami Heat 126-106 to maintain their lead over the reigning champion Boston Celtics at top the East. Darius Garland averaging 21.7 points per game for the Cavs was held out to rest, while Caris LeVert and Isaac Okoro remained sidelined by injuries. Evan Mobley scored 22 points and pulled down 15 rebounds, and Ty Jerome added 20 points off the bench for Cleveland, who improved to 38-9 and remained 5.5 games ahead of the Celtics, who thumped the Chicago Bulls 122-100 in Boston. The New York Knicks are a further game back after a 2-112 victory over the Denver Nuggets. Kristaps Porzingis Sinus was the driving force in Boston, drilling 8 three-pointers on the way to 34 points with 11 rebounds and 3 steals for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown added 28 points, 6 rebounds and 6 assists. Derek White added 22 points and Jason Tatum, questionable to start with a sore knee, scored 16. The Knicks, fueled by 30 points and 15 assists from Jalen Brunson, notched a 5th straight win. Jamal Murray led the Nuggets with 33 points. NBA Most Valuable Player Nika Yik was in foul trouble early and finished with 17 points, 6 rebounds and 6 assists for Denver, who slumped to a third straight defeat. Things got heated in Indianapolis, where Pascal Siakam scored 37 points and Tyrese Haliburton added 30 points and 8 assists for the Indiana Pacers in a 133-119 victory over the Detroit Pistons. 2 weeks after tempers flared when the teams met in Detroit, the Pistons' frustration was obvious. Detroit picked up a pair of technical fouls in the first 17 minutes and Isaiah Stewart was ejected after having Indiana's Thomas Bryant early in the second quarter. There were tense moments in San Antonio where Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell scored 27 points apiece to lead the Los Angeles Clippers to a 128-16 victory over the Spurs. Zubac scored 21 points and grabbed 22 rebounds for the Clippers and sparked the of Spurs star Victor Wanyama when he gave the Frenchman a shove in the third quarter. Wembanyama rose from the court and tried to face down Zubac before he was held back by teammates and coaches. Warriors receive good news in potential pursuit of 2x All-Star. The Golden State Warriors continue to be linked to a number of possible trade targets, with speculation starting to really heat up just over a week out from the February 6 deadline, while Chicago Bulls teammate Zack LaVine has stunningly re-emerged as a trade target of the Warriors, according to Anthony Slater and Marcus Thompson, 2 of The Athletic. On Wednesday, Nikola Jovic has been a prominent name linked to the franchise now for multiple weeks after being seen as Golden State's best and most realistic trade option over recent weeks. Vic may now have to take a backseat as Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the front office plot the idea of an even bigger move that shakes up the fabric of the franchise. LaVine and Jimmy Butler are both back in the Warriors' sights to varying degrees, with both making over $40 million and requiring far more complicated trade scenarios as opposed to someone like Vucevic, who's making exactly $20 million. Yet while Vic may have to now play third fiddle to speculation surrounding LaVine and Butler, there's still positive news for the Warriors on that front, with the 6-10 in center reportedly viewing the franchise as a desirable destination. Their Warriors have discussed Jovic, and league sources say the Chicago Bulls big man views Golden State as a desirable destination should Chicago decide to deal him. Slater and Thompson wrote, "This can only be a good thing for Golden State, particularly if Chicago allows Vucevic to have any say in where he may end up as a 34-year-old veteran with 1 year still left on his deal. Perhaps that element can play a role given the disappointment surrounding their season to date. Hearing that the Warriors are a desired destination by any player is also a nice change from the growing pessimism that's arose over recent weeks. Perhaps Vic got a first-hand look at how a stretch 5 can thrive with the Warriors, having seen rookie bigman Quinten Post make 5 threes and go for a career-high 20 points in a win over the Bulls just last week. Vic has had a strong bounce-back season in Chicago, averaging 20.1 points, 10.3 rebounds and 3.5 assists while shooting 54.9% from the floor and 39.8% from three-point range. He's averaged at least 17.6 points in each of the last 7 seasons, including being named an All-Star in 2019 and 2021. And you fan, what do you think of the situation of Vic? Leave your opinion in the comments.